After literal years of trolling you guys and holding this video back, it is finally time to take a look at the Mega Man X series, and today we're kicking things off by taking a look at the best Maverick from every X game, X through X8. And oh, by the way, I am not done making classic Mega Man videos. There will be many more classic Mega Man series videos, trust me guys, many more videos. I'm not done, I will never run out of ideas. Mega Man X is the greatest start to a Mega Man franchise I've ever seen, which is reflected heavily in its Mavericks. Though that does pay me to say a little bit because I do actually really like the original Mega Man 1 a lot. Like, why do people hate that game? Seriously, that game is good. Now, because this video is on the best Maverick from each game and not the most difficult or the coolest or anything like that, be aware that this is pretty much just a list of my favorite Mavericks, so don't go making a fool of yourself in the comment section if we disagree, because we have plenty of people doing that for you already, trust me. So we got 8 of these guys to cover because I'm not counting Sigma or Vile due to them being in so many different games, but if you do want to see a video covering those guys, please let me know down in the comment section and maybe I'll consider it if you're a subscriber. Chill Penguin is usually the first bad guy Mega Man X players take care of due to his stage having the dash boot upgrade, and playing the game without the dash is horrible. Please do not do it, seriously. If you or a loved one is considering playing Mega Man X without the dash, please call a doctor. That is very concerning. I'm not going to be considering stuff in the actual levels like this for the video since it's unrelated to the boss fights and the bosses in general, but I did want to bring that up just because it feels wrong not to talk about Chill Penguin first, and I wanted to explain why I talked about him first, but now that I'm explaining it, I feel like maybe I shouldn't have, and I should have just talked about it. Despite clearly being meant as the easiest and first boss you defeat, Chill Penguin's design is still pretty cool. I like every Maverick design in Mega Man X a lot though actually, which makes comparing them very difficult. Chill Penguin is probably one of my personal favorite Mavericks from this game, but it feels wrong to claim he's the best, so I'm not gonna. Sting Chameleon is probably one of the prettiest Mavericks in Mega Man X, but he does have a big, long, freaky tongue, plus you can easily cheese him with the right weapon. His design is great though, and I like him a lot. Spark Mandrill is a monkey, and I like monkeys a whole lot, and on top of that, he has a lot of different colors that all work well together in his design, which is always good, because I also like pretty colors a lot. Plus, he even has Christmas lights, and it is almost Christmas, so that's gotta be worth some sort of bonus points, right? Flame Mammoth is a big fat ugly elephant, but I like elephants, and I also like this guy quite a lot. His boss fight is pretty fun with the Metal Man style conveyor belts and everything, but also you are able to cut off his trunk, which is just hysterical. You can literally play Got Your Nose with Flame Mammoth. What other Mega Man X Maverick lets you play Got Your Nose? Name one. You can't. It's only Flame Mammoth. Launch Octopus's entire gimmick is launching missiles, which I think is pretty cool, but other than that, he is just an octopus. I like old Launch Octopus a lot, and his design does look pretty good, but not much about this guy stands out, except for the fact that his boss fight is underwater, but that's not even a good thing. Armored Armadillo has always been one of my personal favorites because he just seems like he'd be a cool dude. Maybe it's because I like the color purple, but I don't know, he just seems pretty chill and relaxed up until you destroy his armor, but by then he's just a regular armadillo, which is not the same as Armored Armadillo, so I don't know if that counts, but I like him. Storm Eagle is perhaps the most iconic Mega Man X Maverick of all time, aside from maybe Sigma, but it's not for no reason. Everything about Storm Eagle is super epic. His stage is epic, his theme song is epic, the boss fight is epic, and even his design is incredibly epic. But there is one tiny flaw with Storm Eagle that kind of gets on my nerves, which is the fact that he can barf up eggs on you. First of all, this is pretty gross. I don't like witnessing this at all. But even worse is the fact that this reminds me of those dang Airman birds from Mega Man 2, or even worse, the ones from Crash Man's stage. I still love Storm Eagle, and he is clearly one of the best Mavericks of all time, but because of that slight flaw, I've got to give the best Maverick for Mega Man X award to Boomer Kawanger. I know I've said before that I hate bugs, and I know this guy is a bug, but I don't care because Boomer Kawanger is awesome. Not only does he have one of the coolest looking designs of all time, but he also acts like an Enderman from Minecraft in the boss fight. Most people say this boss fight is actually really annoying, but I mean, get good. His teleporting can be a pain if you aren't ready for it, but I mean, it's really not that bad if you're a pro gamer. I'm sure my subscribers know all about that though, am I right? Anyway, Boomer Kawanger, if anything, is one of the most underrated Mavericks from Mega Man X, which kind of upsets me, so hopefully now things will be okay, because Boomer Kawanger is the best Maverick from Mega Man X. Mega Man X2, while being slightly less iconic than the original Mega Man X, is still chopped full of amazing Mavericks. Wire Sponge is the first Maverick everyone who knows what they're doing goes for first, but this guy is just goofy. First of all, his name is Wire Sponge. Why is that his name? Who named him? That's weird. Also, why does he look like that? He looks like an angry squash, or if like Larry the Cucumber from VeggieTales caught the Sigma virus. I still like old Wire Sponge, and I certainly enjoy the boss fight, but there's no way this guy could be the best Maverick. Bubble Crab, on the other hand, has a much better chance. It may be true that his stage and boss fight are both partially underwater, which is usually not a good sign, but I actually love both the level and the boss fight. Bubble Crab's design is also pretty cute. I mean, he looks angry all the time, but when it's so easy to defeat him, his futile attempts at your life are just fun to watch. Like, I don't know, that's cute, right? Seeing this guy jump up and down, not killing you. I mean, if he was killing me, he wouldn't be so cute, but he never does because I'm really good at Mega Man, guys. I'm so good at Mega Man. You wouldn't even understand. I'm the best Mega Man player of all time. Crystal Snail is one of the only Mavericks I actively hate, though. I'm not sure what exactly it is about this guy, but I don't like him one bit. I do enjoy bullying him in the boss fights and kicking his shell around all over the place, but the only reason I enjoy that is because I do not like Crystal Snail. However, I do like Flame Stag. He was probably my #1 favorite Maverick from Mega Man X2 when I was a little kid, but I've since grown out of Flame Stag's fanbase, I suppose. I still love this guy, and he has an extremely cool design with the color-changing flames and everything, but to be real with you guys, I think I just liked this guy as a kid because he was one of the easier boss fights. Plus, the volcano stage is one of the coolest things I've ever seen in my life, but we could talk about cool stages in another video. Magna Centipede is a very interesting Maverick, and he certainly has a cool design, but he's a little bit weird. There are lots of very small, weird things about Magna Centipede and his stage and his weapon, but overall, there's nothing really wrong with him, so you know what? I'll say I like him. Magna Centipede, you're very cool. Here's some chocolate milk. Morph Moth is probably the most unique Maverick in Mega Man X2 since it has two forms. The first form is this weird pinata type thing that's not even really a boss fight, but after that, you have to deal with the real Morph Moth, whose design is very pretty. To be fair, Morph Moth is a butterfly, and butterflies are very pretty, so I guess it makes sense, but I still like him. Though I would really appreciate it if he would stop sprinkling angel dust on me every time I fight him. That stuff freaks me out. It's not good for you at all. Please stop. Overdrive Ostrich is like if Sonic the Hedgehog was an ostrich. I'm not just saying that because he's fast either. He just kind of has the vibe of a Sonic character, which is something I refuse to elaborate on any further. I do like Overdrive Ostrich though. He's pretty great for the most part. I mean, he's fast, he can jump high, he's fast. The actual boss fight is also very fun, but if anything, it is a bit on the easy side. But the best Maverick for Mega Man X2 has got to be Wheel Gator. Wheel Gator is by far the coolest Maverick in Mega Man X2, but he is also the best because I said so. He has a great design, a dope weapon, a very unique boss fight, and also he's a crocodile, and I like crocodiles. In all seriousness though, it should be pretty self-explanatory why I picked this guy as the best. I mean, I like all the Mavericks from Mega Man X2, don't get me wrong. Literally none of them are bad, but like, look at Wheel Gator, look at him. He's obviously the best Maverick from Mega Man X2. Mega Man X3 is always fun to talk about because people usually mistake the X3 for one of those anime faces that people type, which derails the conversation very quickly. Tunnel Rhino is probably the most basic Maverick from Mega Man X3, but there's nothing wrong with him. I'd say he's pretty solid. His design with the drill for a horn is actually pretty clever too, which means Tunnel Rhino gets some bonus points. Neon Tiger is pretty much just a tiger that can shoot things out of its tail, which, while cool, is actually pretty tame for a Mega Man X Maverick. Like, Mavericks are supposed to be extreme. It's Mega Man X for Extreme. Oh, speaking of the Game Boy games, by the way, I will cover those in another video, but you have to subscribe. The boss fight is a fun one though, as long as you're not literally terrible at Mega Man, but I've heard the cure for being bad at Mega Man is subscribing to my channel. Blast Hornet is a personal favorite of mine and always has been ever since I was a kid, but now that we have Hornet Man in the classic series, I like this guy even more. His boss fight is a little bit pathetic when you have the right weapon, but I mean, black holes are canonically stupid powerful, so we can't blame this guy for getting outdone by a literal black hole. Volt Catfish looks really funny to me. Like, I like Volt Catfish a lot. The design is cool and the boss fight is fun and whatever, but I always laugh when I see this guy. Even the colors are just really funny to me for some reason. I don't know exactly what it is. I mean, the colors aren't even bad or anything, but literally every single aspect about Volt Catfish somehow manages to make me laugh. Blizzard Buffalo has a beautiful design and is of course cool, but the boss fight is stupid easy. Blizzard Buffalo is basically basically just a cold and thick toad man. Gravity Beetle has a decent design, and his boss fights mainly consist of him throwing his balls around, but for some reason I really like Gravity Beetle. I still hate bugs, but I guess this is just another one I'll have to make an exception for. This means it's down to either Toxic Seahorse or Crushed Crawfish. Both of these guys are very weird looking Mavericks when compared to the rest of the series, but despite their weird looks, they both have a very nice charm to them. Toxic Seahorse of course has a great color palette and a fun boss fight as long as you're able to dodge the acid, while Crushed Crawfish doesn't have the best color palette of all time, but he does still have a beautiful design and a fun fight to go along with it. If we were going by pure design alone, I probably would go with Toxic Seahorse, but unless you want to see a video on the best Maverick design from every Mega Man X game, I'm probably never going to do that. But for the best Maverick for Mega Man X3, I'm going to have to give it to Crushed Crawfish. This guy was my favorite Maverick as a kid from Mega Man X3, and I think that could be partially due to the easiness of the boss fight, but at the same time, his design has just always stood out to me. And I could sit here for like 5 more minutes trying to explain to you the weird reasons I have for liking Crushed Crawfish, but I don't wanna. I know, I am literally a YouTuber making a video on my favorite Mavericks and why I like them, but I don't wanna. So yeah, Crushed Crawfish is the best Maverick from Mega Man X3. Mega Man X4 is the first of the Mega Man X series to be on the PlayStation 1, but weirdly I feel like the Mavericks went down a little bit in quality. I still love Mega Man X4 and all of its Mavericks of course, but they just seem to get less and less individually iconic as the series goes on from this point forward. Slash Beast is kind of a good example of this. He's pretty much a mix of Slash Man from Mega Man 7 and I guess maybe Neon Tiger, but he feels almost generic. I still like this boss and everything. I'm not trying to say he's bad, but there just isn't anything significant about this boss that stands out. Storm Owl is pretty lame, possibly the lamest Maverick from Mega Man X4. He clearly just wants to be Storm Eagle, but he's not, which is why he's lame. Cyber Peacock, on the other hand, is actually pretty cool. Most of what makes Cyber Peacock so cool is in the stage and not the boss fight, but the boss fight and design still have some interesting features. The sprites are all pretty beautiful, and it even looks like his back feather things are Christmas themed, which is always a good sight to see. His boss fights can be a bit annoying though, I suppose, but it's nothing that my subscribers couldn't handle. I am trying to reach 10k subscribers before the end of the year, by the way, so if you're having trouble beating Cyber Peacock, please just subscribe so we both get what we want. Plus, once I get 10,000 subscribers, I have something special in mind, and you are not going to want to miss that, trust me. Web Spider is another Maverick that I do not like all that much, but I just hate this guy because I hate spiders. Like, I hate spiders more than I hate bugs. You will not see me making an exception for a spider anytime soon. Split Mushroom is a pretty funny boss. He kind of copies Gemini Man by cloning himself, but he has the personality of Aquaman, which makes for a pretty weird combination that is surprisingly enjoyable. Jet Stingray looks really cool and the boss fight isn't too bad, but this guy's stage sucks. I know I said I'm not considering stages for this video, but for Jet Stingray specifically, I will, just because this motorcycle stage is stupid. Frost Walrus, on the other hand, is actually really cool. He's pretty much exactly like Frostman from Mega Man 8, but as a Maverick in Mega Man X4, and on top of that, he's also a walrus. And that's pretty funny. I mean, I wouldn't consider myself a big walrus fan, but I sure do like this one. But of course, this means the best Maverick from Mega Man X4 is Magma Dragoon, but we all knew that, right? Right, guys? I mean, come on. Not only is this guy a fire-breathing dragon that also shows up in the intro stage, but on top of all that, he even knows Street Fighter moves. I don't know anything about fighting games that are not called Super Smash Bros., but seeing a Mega Man boss try to hit me with a Shoryuken is wild, which is why Magma Dragoon is obviously the best Maverick from Mega Man X4. Now that we finished taking a look at the first half of the series, otherwise known as the Legacy Collection 1 half, it's time to take a look at the infamously worst half of the X series. But I mean, come on, how bad could it be? It's Mega Man X! Right, guys? It's Mega Man X. It can't be that bad. Right? Mega Man X5, despite being a pretty fun game, actually has a pretty large collection of lame Mavericks. Crescent Grizzly is very similar to Slash Beast from Mega Man X4, who already wasn't that great to begin with. Easy Glow doesn't have a bad design or anything like that, but it just feels very lacking overall. Like, he looks cute for the most part, I guess, but I just cannot make myself like this guy. Dark Dizzy actually looks pretty cool and reminds me of Dr. Mindsmitter from G.I. Joe, but at the end of the day, this is just Shade Man if he was a scientist and a Maverick, which is just unoriginal. Again, again, I'm not trying to be a hater or anything, guys, but when compared to the amazingly designed Mavericks we were seeing at the beginning of this video, these guys are just all hard to stomach. Like, Matrix is literally just a worse version of Magma Dragoon, who was literally in the previous game. I don't hate this guy, in fact, I do think he's quite awesome, but it's only because he's copying something that was even more awesome. Spiral Pegasus, or Skyver, or whatever you want to call him, is stupid, because I always thought he was just a kangaroo with wings. I mean, yeah, now that I've told all you guys he's a Pegasus, that seems really stupid, but look at his face. That doesn't look like a Pegasus, that looks like a kangaroo! And because of that, I don't like this bozo. Squid Adler, just like Jet Stingray, has a stupid motorcycle section, so I am once again making an exception to the stage rule and saying this guy sucks no matter what. Duff McWhalen is actually pretty decent as opposed to the rest of these freaks. I mean, he's not the best Maverick I've ever seen in my entire life, and in fact, he is pretty ugly, but he is still a nice breath of fresh air away from the rest of the cast, despite being underwater. Of course, this means the best Maverick from Mega Man X5 is Axel the Red. This guy is certainly cool, but in all honesty, Axel the Red wins by default due to being one of the only Mavericks that isn't flat out lame. Also, before anyone says something in the comment section, I know about the Guns N' Roses references, okay? I just did not want to be the 10,000th video on YouTube to bring it up. Anyway, Axel the Red is the best Maverick from Mega Man X5. Mega Man X6 is one of the most hated Mega Man X games of all time, but that's something we can talk about another day. For now, let's talk about how all of Mega Man X6's Mavericks look like Muppets. I would say this is still a better selection than Mega Man X5's Mavericks, but I mean, look at these guys. They look just like Muppets. Shield Sheldon is probably the best example of this in terms of looks, but I actually do not mind Sheldon all that much. Though I do not know who named this Mega Man X Maverick Sheldon. Why would you do that to this poor guy? Ground Scarvich is another bug, and he's not too bad, but he certainly is not going to be the best, and Metal Shark Player isn't a bad Maverick by any means, but his most interesting feature is his name. Blaze Heatnik certainly looks pretty cool, and it's great to have a Phoenix boss fight in a Mega Man game, but somehow this Maverick just is not that cool. I don't know, maybe it's just because he's a bird or something, but something just seems off about this guy for whatever reason. And no, I'm not just being biased because I hate those donuts. I do hate those donuts, but I'm not counting the stage, I promise. Okay, maybe a little. The same thing goes for Blizzard Wolfang, though. Like, on paper, absolutely nothing is wrong with this guy, but as far as Ice Mavericks go, he just seems weird. Like, he seems like he would be an enemy or a mini-boss in an Ice Maverick stage, but nope, he is the Ice Maverick. Weirdly, I'd say Infinity Majinian has a more fitting design for an Ice Maverick, but I could just be saying that because I've always liked his design a good bit. Rainy Turtleoid is easily the thickest Maverick in Mega Man X6, but that's a topic we can cover in another video. This boss fight is actually fairly fun though, and despite looking like a Muppet, this is one of the few bosses in Mega Man X6 that actually feels memorable. But despite that, the best Maverick from Mega Man X6 is Commander Yamark. Now, first of all, obviously this guy's design is the best from the game, but on top of that, this guy is a certified commander, and that is a big deal. In all seriousness though, I love his glasses, and his design is almost like a Net Navi or something on a Mega Man Star Force, but it still fits really well in Mega Man X6. I know dragonflies are technically bugs, which I do not like, but I'll tell you what, I actually do like dragonflies, so ha! Take that, noob! Anyway, Commander Yamark, or whatever you want to say, is definitely the best Maverick from Mega Man X6. Mega Man X7 is commonly referred to as the worst Mega Man X game of all time, and while I don't know about that, it certainly is not the best. Tornado Tunyon is probably one of the goofiest and weirdest Mavericks of all time, but I actually like this guy a good bit. Not in terms of design or anything like that, I just think he's kind of funny. Flame Hyenard, on the other hand, is just plain awful. I hate that guy. Horrible stage, horrible design, and he hurts my ears. Splash Warfly isn't too bad in terms of being fun to fight, but I feel like this guy is a snitch. He looks like he'd tell the teacher I have a DS in my backpack at school, so if I saw him outside of Mega Man X7, I would definitely bully him, immediately, on sight. Snipe Anteater is definitely a weirdo, but I feel like he looks the most like a classic Mega Man X Maverick than anyone else in this game, despite having a pretty weird design, so Snipe Anteater gets a pass for now. Wind Crowrang is actually pretty decent with a sleek design, but he's just a goth Storm Eagle, and I do not reward plagiarism in these videos. Soldier Stone Kong looks like a Cuts bonus boss from Mega Man Maverick Maverick Hunter X or something, but I still like him alright. He is a monkey, which of course I always enjoy, but his boss fights is really annoying to me, and I don't want him to watch this video and think we're friends or something, because that would be kind of awkward. Ride Borsky also has a pretty decent looking design, but for some reason he looks almost exactly like these other motorcycle enemies that were already in a Mega Man X game, and unless one of these puny enemies got upgraded to the status of Maverick, I do not think that's okay. But even if that did happen to a puny enemy, that would just make Mega Man X7 look even worse than it is already for letting just anyone become a Maverick. But this means the best Maverick from Mega Man X7 is Vanishing Gungaroo. Vanishing Gungaroo is pretty cool because he has a mech suit just like an anime, and I like anime, so that automatically gives him some bonus points. Admittedly though, this guy is still pretty annoying to listen to and even fight, which just goes to show you how Mega Man X7's Mavericks are, but I mean, regardless, Vanishing Gungaroo is the best Maverick from Mega Man X7. Mega Man X8 is possibly the most polarizing Mega Man X game to talk about online, with some people saying it's just as bad or even worse than Mega Man X7, and other people saying it's actually the greatest entry in the entire series. What I think about Mega Man X8 though is that most of these Mavericks look like regular enemies. This is certainly not a good thing, and I have no idea what the deal is here. I mean, Bamboo Pandemonium looks exactly like this panda enemy from Windman stage in Mega Man 6 on the NES. I mean, he still looks cool, and I still like the pun in his name and everything, but this is not scary. This is supposed to be Mega Man X, for goodness sake. Optic Sunflower looks like he was ripped fresh out of Plants vs. Zombies. I mean, this is ridiculous. Earthrock Trilobite is ugly and also looks like he would just be a regular enemy, and Dark Mantis looks like a Muppet that was ripped out of some obscure 90s movie where they advised an evil bad guy on the best way to do their dastardly deeds. Gravity Antonian looks like if Magna Centipede was extremely thick, and Gigabolt Man-O-War looks like a Happy Meal I once got from McDonald's. Though I will say, I do like the design of this dude a lot more than the rest of the Mavericks I've talked about so far, but he still seems really underwhelming for a Mega Man X Maverick. Avalanche Yeti doesn't look bad or anything, but he seems like a cut mini-boss from Mega Man 8 or something. I don't know why exactly, but that just seems like the style this guy was designed in. But the best Maverick from Mega Man X8 has got to be Burn Rooster. This is the only Maverick from this game that does not actively offend me. I do enjoy me a good fire-themed boss, but when combined with a chicken, I like it even more. This isn't my favorite Maverick of all time or anything like that, but the design is actually decent, and when compared to the rest of the Mavericks from this game, it becomes obvious why Burn Rooster is the best Maverick from Mega Man X8. Those were the best Mavericks from every X game, X through X8. As always, I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video, and if you did, please like and subscribe, because I'm only going to continue making Mega Man X videos if you guys enjoy watching them, so yeah.
You